The clock ticks loudly in the background, matching the rapid beat of my heart as I sit in the stark, grey interrogation room. The metallic taste of fear is palpable as the door swings open, ushering in Detective Larson, a man known for his unyielding manner and sharp gaze. "Mr. Collins," he begins, flipping open a small notebook. "Let's talk about last Thursday night. Care to explain why your wedding ring was found at the scene of a burglary?" I swallow hard, my mind racing. I was at home that night. I have no idea how my ring ended up there. The detective's eyes narrow slightly. "Funny," he muses, tapping the notebook with his pen. "Because the security footage shows otherwise." He slides a photograph across the table. It's grainy, but unmistakably shows a figure placing documents into a briefcase, the figure, too slight to be me, but my ring glittering conspicuously on their finger. My heart stops. I had no part in this, but the evidence tells a different story. A story carefully orchestrated without my knowledge. "Look, I didn't do this, I insist," the image burning into my brain. "You have to believe me." "We'll see," Detective Larson says, his tone non-committal. He stands, his chair scraping against the linoleum floor. "We'll be in touch, Mr. Collins." Left alone, the weight of my situation sinks in. My mind flashes back to earlier days, happier times with my wife, Jenna. How did it come to this? I return home, the silence a stark contrast to the chaos of my thoughts. I need answers. As I walk through the front door, the scent of Jenna's perfume lingers in the air, a haunting reminder of her presence. In our bedroom, I open her jewelry box, searching for any sign of my missing ring. Instead, I find a receipt from a high-end hotel dated the night of the burglary. The pieces click together, a devastating picture of deceit. The door creaks, and Jenna walks in, her eyes wide with surprise. "You're home early," she murmurs, her voice a melody that once soothed my soul. "Where's my ring, Jenna?" I ask, holding up the receipt. "And don't lie to me." "Not anymore." Her face falls, and for a moment I see a flicker of guilt, or is it fear, pass through her eyes. "I can explain," she starts, but her words falter under my steady gaze. "No," I cut her off, my voice colder than I intend. "I saw the security footage. You set me up." Jenna takes a step back, her facade crumbling. I was going to tell you," she stammers. "It wasn't supposed to go this far. It was just..." "Just what?" "A game?" I interject, anger boiling over. The betrayal stings deeper than the cold steel of a knife. She looks away, unable to meet my eyes. "I needed a way out," she whispers. "I thought if you were caught up in this, I could." "Leave? With him?" The realization hits like a ton of bricks. The late nights, the whispered phone calls, it all makes sense now. Jenna nods, tears streaming down her face. "I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt you." Jenna nods. Is too late. The damage is done. My trust, shattered, my heart, broken. "I'm leaving," I state flatly, the finality of my words hanging heavy in the air. As I pack my bags, each item I place feels like closing a chapter of my life. A chapter filled with love turned to betrayal. And as I step out the door, I leave behind the life I once knew, the life she broke with her deceit. The cool evening air brushes against my face as I step out of my once shared apartment, a single suitcase in hand. The streets of the city hum with life, oblivious to the turmoil churning inside me. A text message pings on my phone, snapping me back to the present, a message from an unknown number. "Meet me at Joe's Cafe. Urgent. S." Skeptical yet intrigued, I head towards the cafe, a quaint little spot tucked away on the corner of 5th and Main. The bell jingles as I push through the door, scanning the room for anyone who might be waiting for me. A woman in the back catches my eye, waving me over. "You must be Mr. Collins," she says, her voice assertive. She gestures for me to sit. "I'm Samantha, a private investigator." I raise an eyebrow, cautious. "Why did you want to meet?" Samantha leans forward, her eyes serious. I've been following your case. Something doesn't add up. I think you're being framed. The word framed echoes in my mind. Go on. She pulls out her laptop, opening a series of images and documents. Here's the hotel receipt you found, right? Well, I checked the surveillance from the hotel. You weren't there. Someone's playing a dangerous game at your expense. My pulse quickens with a mix of anxiety and hope. What do you need from me? Trust, she states simply. And access to any information you have. We need to figure out who's behind this and why. Agreeing, I share everything: Jenna's strange behavior, the mysterious occurrences leading up to the burglary, everything. Samantha listens intently, her fingers flying over the keys as she takes notes. Suddenly, her phone rings. She answers, her expression turning grave. Yes. I see. Thank you. Hanging up, she looks at me. That was my contact at the police department. They're moving to arrest you tomorrow based on the evidence they have. Panic sets in. What do we do? There's one more place we need to check. The security company that manages the surveillance for your office. If we can prove that the footage was tampered with, it might just clear your name. Without hesitation, we leave the cafe and head to the security company. The night deepens around us as we arrive at a nondescript building on the outskirts of town. Samantha talks her way past the night guard, and soon we're rifling through files and hard drives. Got it, she exclaims after what feels like hours. On the screen, a video plays, a clearer angle of the night of the burglary. The figure, though blurred, is definitely not me. But there's more. The timestamp on the video doesn't match the one provided to the police. We need to get this to the detective first thing in the morning, Samantha says, her eyes alight with determination. The drive back is quiet, each of us lost in thought. As I drop Samantha off, she turns to me. We're in this together now, Mr. Collins. We're going to find out who did this to you. As I drive away, the weight of the world feels just a little lighter. Maybe, just maybe, there's a chance to turn this all around. But in the back of my mind, a nagging question remains: who would go to such lengths to destroy my life, and why? The answer, I sense, will come with its own set of dangers. The dawn breaks over the city skyline as Samantha and I approach the police station, the morning air crisp and unusually calm. Armed with the new evidence, my nerves buzz with a cocktail of hope and apprehension. Detective Larson greets us in his office, his expression unreadable as we lay out our findings. The timestamp discrepancy, the clearer video, it all spins out on his desk like a high-stakes poker game. Samantha takes the lead, her voice steady. This proves that the evidence against Mr. Collins was manipulated. We need to investigate who had access to these videos and who could benefit from framing him. The detective scrutinizes the files, his brow furrowed. After a long pause, he looks up. All right, I'll hold off on the arrest. But I want to know everything, every move you make. With a nod from both of us, we leave his office, the weight of his words settling like a cloak around our shoulders. Outside, the city awakens to the rush of morning commuters, oblivious to the undercurrent swirling through its streets. Next stop, your office, Samantha declares as we get into her car. We need to talk to your boss. See if he knew about the affair between Jenna and him. The drive is short, but my mind races through every possible scenario. As we walk into the sleek lobby of the building, the receptionist gives us a curious look, but Samantha's confident stride commands no questions. We find my boss, Mr. Harwood, in his office overlooking the city. He looks up, surprise etching his features as he stands to greet us. Collins, this is unexpected, and who is this? This is Samantha, my investigator. We have reason to believe that someone tampered with security footage to frame me, I say, getting straight to the point. Harwood's face pales slightly, his eyes darting briefly to Samantha before regaining composure. I assure you, I had nothing to do with any of this. Why would I sabotage my own company? Maybe because of Jenna? Samantha interjects sharply. We know about the affair. A flash of anger crosses Harwood's face, then disappears just as quickly. That's a personal matter and has nothing to do with the company or the burglary. Samantha steps closer, her voice low but fierce. Everything's connected, Mr. Harwood. And we're going to find out how. He sits heavily in his chair, the mask of control slipping. Look, I was blackmailed. Someone sent me photos of Jenna and me. They threatened to expose everything unless I cooperated. Who? I press, my heart hammering in my chest. I don't know. It was all anonymous. But they wanted information on our latest project. I didn't give them anything, I swear. Samantha nods, jotting down notes. We'll need all communications you received. Emails, texts, everything. Harwood hesitates, then nods reluctantly. Okay. I'll have my secretary send them to you. As we leave his office, the puzzle pieces start forming a clearer picture, but the image is darker and more complex than I imagined. Someone was orchestrating a dangerous game, and Jenna and I were merely pawns. Back in Samantha's car, I feel the gravity of everything crashing down. What now? I ask, a weary sigh escaping my lips. Now, she says, turning the key in the ignition, we find the puppet master. And we cut the strings. The car pulls out onto the street, blending into the flow of traffic as we head towards an uncertain but determined horizon. The battle lines are drawn, and it's time to fight back. The city sprawls out below as dusk begins to settle, turning the sky a bruised purple. Samantha and I are parked outside a nondescript warehouse on the outskirts of town, the final piece of the puzzle supposedly inside. Are you sure about this? I ask, watching as shadows move behind the frosted windows. Samantha nods, checking her pistol before tucking it back under her jacket. The digital trail led here. Whatever is happening, it ends tonight. We approach the warehouse cautiously, the only sounds our muffled footsteps and the distant hum of the highway. Samantha picks the lock with practiced ease, and we slip inside. The interior is vast, rows of crates stacked to the ceiling. A faint light glows from an office above. We make our way upstairs, pausing outside the door to listen. Voices, muffled but heated, filter through. I told you, it's done. He'll take the fall and we'll be clear, a man says, his voice a venomous hiss. Not if I have anything to say about it, another retorts, and my blood runs cold. It's Jenna. Samantha gives me a look, one that says it's now or never, and kicks the door in. The room freezes, two men and Jenna, her face going pale at the sight of me. Jenna! I gasp, heartbroken yet furious. Tom, she starts, but I cut her off. Save it. I know everything. The man who spoke first steps forward, a smug smile playing on his lips. You really are clueless, aren't you? She's been with us from the start. Confusion mingles with the anger. Us? I echo. The real power behind Harwood's company. We orchestrate, we manipulate, and we profit, he explains, his gaze cold and calculating. And I was just a distraction? I asked Jenna, desperate for her to deny it. She looks down, unable to meet my gaze. I was in too deep. They promised me a way out, with money to start over. But I didn't want you to get hurt. But framing me for theft and having an affair was okay? My voice breaks with the weight of betrayal. It wasn't supposed to go this far, she whispers. Samantha steps in, her weapon trained on the men. Enough of this. You're all under arrest. Tom, cuff them. As I move to secure the men, Jenna steps back, tears streaming down her face. The man laughs, a sound devoid of any joy. You think this is over? We're just pawns in a bigger game. Ignoring him, I turn to Jenna. Why, Jenna? Was it worth it? She sobs, shaking her head. It was never about the money. I was scared. They have connections everywhere, Tom. I thought if I played along, I could protect you. Disgust and pity war within me. By destroying our lives? I secure the cuffs on her wrists. I loved you. I know. I'm sorry, she cries as I lead her out. The drive to the police station is silent, each of us lost in our own turmoil. As the police take Jenna and the men away, Samantha places a hand on my shoulder. You did the right thing, Tom. Looking back at Jenna, her face a mask of remorse and fear, I realize the love I had for her is gone, eroded by lies and deceit. I know, I reply, but the victory is hollow. As I watch her disappear inside the station, a part of me mourns what could have been a life built on trust and love, not betrayal. I turn away, the chapter closed forever. Whatever life awaits me now, it will be one of my own making, free from the shadows of deception.